My name's Scot McKee. It's on the board in case I forget. I'm the Chief Exec of Birddog. We're a brand and digital agency based in central London. I'm also the author of a book called Creative B2B Branding, No Really. And the clue's in the title. My mission in life is to try and make B2B communications a bit more interesting. At a strategic level, that is working on brand strategy for businesses. And tactically, Birddog delivers campaigns in the digital space, increasingly using video as a core medium for communications. And that's why I'm standing here now. So the first thing I need you to do is look into my eyes. Not around my eyes, into my eyes. I'm going to try and read your mind because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Birddog. Where's that then? A lot of people think that. And if I was to answer that question, I could maybe let you figure it out for yourself. Maybe I could give you some pictures that would help you find where we are. Certainly with Google Street Map, you can have an aerial shot, you can have a street view shot. I'm fairly sure the building on the right there is now a strip club. Pictures might help you find the destination. Or maybe a map. That's the traditional, functional, easy way of finding somewhere. So all of those things work. They would all get you to the destination. But the experience, perhaps, isn't as rich as it could be. So however we travel, the destination is important. Clearly you have to get there. But so's the journey, and that's what I want to talk about today. So we have function. Here's a picture of a taxi. It'll take you from A to B on your journey. And there's form. Here's another picture of a taxi. It won't take you from A to B, but it might take you somewhere else. And there's form and function. And when it's combined, you get something completely different. So here's another way of looking at a taxi, but this time it involves motion pictures. And I'm not suggesting really that you would pay money and spend time in a queue to watch a taxi drive past, and yet millions of people have paid money and stood in a queue to watch a taxi in a film. So a movie about a taxi becomes art. That third picture on the right there is a piece of artwork. It's a canvas you can blow up to any size and have in your living room if you so choose. From that functional beginning, we've ended up at entertainment. And the reason that happens is audiences like to be entertained. So why wouldn't we use all the available tools available to us in marketing to entertain our audience rather than just deliver the function of our message? The next time you're tempted to draw a map, sure, you can scribble notes down, scribble a diagram, but I want to encourage you to be a little bit more creative about how you think. And that's what Birddog did back in the old days, way back in 2008. We were going to put a map on our website about how to find our new London offices, and instead we made a video. And we were trying to show the journey here. Now clearly my commuter journey from Windsor to central London takes about an hour and a half, an hour and 3/4. That would be a pretty dull video. So we were hoping to achieve something else. And I know what you're thinking because you were looking into my eyes. The guy on the left there, yeah, that's me. Yes, that day it was me rocking out in London Underground just before the police arrived and told me to leave. That's where it all began, and it's probably where I'll end up. We included the places, the features, the landmarks, the different parts of the story that we wanted to tell about our journey to London. And we tried to create something a bit more entertaining other than a map.
Here is the world, a world of mighty oceans, winding rivers, towering mountains, drifting deserts, deep forests. A world of beauty for the enjoyment of travelers everywhere. Whether you travel the high seas, wander your way over the broad highways, soar swiftly above the clouds, or roll along over shining ribbons of steel,
Birddog
are waiting for you. And yet, no matter where you are,
Birddog.
is never far away. London, mother of parliaments. London, city of the ages, centuries old. London, home of Big Ben. Yet,
Birddog.
is but seconds away.
You know Birddog?
Yes.
And that they've moved?
Uh-huh.
Would you want to come and meet them with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll show you the way.
Yes, Mr. Benton?
I need to build an outstanding creative brand. Can you get me Birddog?
Right away, sir.
Wherever you may be, or wherever you go, you can have
Birddog.
at your call.
Someone earlier talked about the budgets available for movie making. Let me tell you, that was not a multi-million-pound budget. The filming was done in one take, and it just proves the exception to James' rule about keeping a steady hand. It was all done with a handheld camera. So it doesn't mean you don't need a map in order to communicate the function of your products or services, but perhaps you can think differently about it. And the important part is when you do that, you start to engage a wider audience. You start to have further reach. So from that video, which to most people is just a directional map, we started to get blogging coverage from it. So other people are picking up on our content and redistributing the message. So someone here from a website called Sweat Equity is writing about how to get to Birddog, writing about our video and telling the world about our brand. So we're starting to represent our brand in more creative ways. And down at the bottom there, you can see I've highlighted the share tools that are available. So when you do start to create more interesting content, people start to share it and you get to speak to a wider market. And I think every corporate brand gets very serious about their communications, but within a video medium there are opportunities to lighten up a bit and represent the brands in more interesting ways. Your content is dull. It's not a specific comment directed at you, it's a comment directed at everyone. Content is dull. B2B content doesn't get much duller. Okay, as B2B brands, our primary challenge is to make our message interesting. There's a very niche audience that will be interested in it, whatever, but for the most part, we have to expand the view in order to draw people towards what is otherwise a very dry message. Now, you shouldn't panic too much because everyone else's content is dull. There are hundreds of websites like this, but just to illustrate the point, you may not be able to see it there, so I highlighted an MSc in transfusion, transplantation and tissue banking in Edinburgh. Now that in itself isn't terribly interesting or inspiring. Any website with any kind of data listing isn't going to be terribly inspiring, but there are ways of making it more interesting. And the answer is usually in the question, right? Edinburgh and Lothians is an interesting area, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot we could be saying or seeing to be associated with this content through video that would make the entire experience more interesting for people looking for that information. And when I'm talking about inspiring, I don't mean head and shoulders shots of Sir preaching a corporate message against a green screen background that's changed to the Himalayas later on. Whatever content you're producing for your titles, there will be a way of presenting it through video in a more interesting and dynamic way. And the challenge for you is to get the help and support to deliver more interesting content. So I want to give you an example of some fairly dry content that we've tried to treat in a more creative way. One of our clients is KCOM. They're a technology company, a solutions provider. They provide technology solutions across the UK to medium to large size companies. KCOM's service offering is all about providing a 24-hour, 24/7, 365 service, network service for their customers. They're always on, they're always ready, they're always live and ready to deliver that service. So we were trying to find a way of communicating their messages and keep the idea of live communications at the forefront. What we came up with was a series of videos called the Napkin Diaries. And it was an idea that was conceived to present complex technical information simply and quickly. So imagine, if you will, look into my eyes, and imagine, if you will, that you are the KCOM go-to guy. Whatever the product area of expertise or title expertise in your case, you're the person that people come to talk about that. You've set up a dream lunch meeting with the CEO of a prospective company, and all you have with you at that meeting for lunch is a pen and your napkin. Okay, those are the tools that are available to you. So rather than a head and shoulders shot of Sir preaching, we've got a video set up where we're at a lunch venue, except there isn't really a meeting, there isn't really a CEO, and actually there's no lunch and there's no restaurant either. Okay? That's the kind of environment that we're in, and that's what we videoed. We created a series of them, and the action starts straight away. You can see there the napkin and the pen, the topic that we're going to be talking about, and as the voiceover narrates the story about the technology, the guy starts drawing pictures to illustrate it, all done on the back of a napkin as if you would when you were talking to someone at a restaurant. You'll see the story unfold, the diagrams grow across the napkin, and in a very short space of time we cover quite a lot of technical ground in a relatively accessible way.
Mobile working is changing the way businesses operate. With a mobile workforce, a company can be more responsive and flexible. The knock-on impact to IT is that it needs to manage a more complicated IT environment, while still providing a simple user experience. Mobile workers rely on smartphones for email and for remote access to the corporate network and for information. In the mobile world, technology is the enabler. Without it, they simply cannot work effectively when away from the office. There are three key IT challenges with a mobile workforce. Firstly, they need the right tools, access and information to work effectively. Secondly, you need to manage multiple mobile devices, call and data plans and their associated costs. Finally, information needs to remain secure and data protected. So, how can a CIO ensure that mobile workers are productive? Well, primarily by providing resilient, scalable and secure mobile access. You need to make it as easy to work remotely as it is to work in the office. Cost effectiveness can be an issue with mobile workers, so you need to have a clear understanding of usage, what is being used and how. Then you're better able to consider your options. For example, you could consider a fixed to mobile solution, which will reduce costs by introducing a single dialing plan. Other options include an office communication server, which allows your mobile workers to collaborate through a unified communication toolset, or by using soft phones on workers' laptops. So, to sum up, you need to ensure your underlying communication infrastructure is efficient, secure and reliable. Reviewing and auditing your network typically delivers substantial cost savings that you can then invest in new technologies and network improvements as and when required.
Easy in, easy out. That could have been a white paper, it could have been a data sheet, it could have been a product fact sheet. It wasn't. It was a video. It was done on a budget, produced quickly, and is now being distributed. And you can all do that with a good idea behind you. Unless people see it, it's useless. So we've got to the point where we have created some good video content, but it's still of little use unless people are going to see it. So we're into distribution now. If we follow on with the KCOM example, we created a series. Once we had the idea, how can we use it again? So we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time we need some more video content. We've got an idea, the Napkin Diaries, that just in its title suggests that there's more than one, and we're going to have a series of them. So we don't need to keep rethinking that, we just need to deliver. Okay, Only Fools and Horses was almost axed after the second series and went on to become the UK's biggest ever, most popular comedy series that ran and ran and ran. So try and create something that you can use again. The Napkin Diaries continues to attract hundreds of views. It's only just been released, and all of that came from one imaginary lunch. Yeah. Flexible network, personal devices at work, what is the cloud, all the subjects that KCOM can think of, we can produce a video for. And in terms of the budgets associated to these, it's a pair of hands. We talked about sound earlier on, how you can use sound. Someone mentioned music, using soundtracks. We didn't use music, but we weren't in a restaurant either. This was all shot in a studio. So all the clinking of glasses and coffee cups and sound of background waitresses and so on, we put that in to create the effect. The series continues, and now you need to distribute it. You need to get people to look at it. In order to do that, you need to be thinking about multi-platforms, and companies aren't thinking wide enough for distribution. The focus is on the website, and they're just trying to produce content for the website. Well, not anymore. If you want people to see your video, you have to reach wider than that. And you can't leave good content rotting in a dead-end silo. You're thinking, well, what's a dead-end silo? Well, there's one, but here are some others. Almost every website now is a rotting dead-end silo. Okay, I've picked your competitors here. Could have been you. Okay, everyone's focused on their website and pushing more and more information into their website, and there's a big problem with that because the web is dead. As far back as 2000, web traffic started falling off. Okay, it's pretty much fallen off a cliff. So the internet continues to grow exponentially, but visits to websites are falling away. In the purple there, you can see the growth of peer-to-peer networks, social networking. But right up at the top, the important one for today, is the growth of video. So this is in the US, it's not necessarily the UK, but the proportion of total internet traffic is all video. That's what people want. That's where the traffic is. It's where you need to be producing the content that people are looking for. So you no longer have a choice. Video must form part of your content planning, and it needs to be accessible outside the corporate website silo. That means you need to distribute, and you're not going to be able to distribute from your corporate website. The distribution comes from the crowd. Back to our KCOM example to talk about distribution. So we're following the Napkin Diaries example through again here. This is our hub and spoke strategy for distribution of the videos. We've got KCOM in the center there as a hub, not the corporate website, a specific dedicated hub I'll show you in a second, and then the various channels around it where we can distribute the video into different marketplaces. Wherever our audience is, wherever they choose to be, we can offer them content. I'm not going to take you through all of them, but we'll look at a couple. Okay, this is the hub then. So, central hub, aggregating content from around the web relevant to the industry. So it's not all KCOM information, it's industry information. This idea of collaborating and using the information that's available rather than feeling you have to generate it all yourself. So we're streaming content here that includes the video. So there's Twitter streams on there, there's RSS feeds, and yeah, look, the video content that we're producing, we found another channel to communicate it. That allows us to achieve multi-platform distribution. Have you seen our KCOM Connected Hub? The place to go for latest industry news, tweets, and videos. Okay, so we've created our own channel where we can promote our video, and you can see already someone starting to retweet that, to send the information out into the wider network. On the same page, same Twitter stream, down at the bottom, as well as the hub, we can promote the videos individually. You click on that tweet, protecting your data and productivity. The flexible network gives businesses the power to operate 24/7. Hashtag Napkin Diaries. Okay, so we're creating the product awareness as well. And you click on the video and away you go on the Napkin Diaries that we were looking at. Okay, but beyond that, why are we doing this? What are we hoping to achieve? Well, we're trying to engage the audience with our brand. So that tweet goes out, the video gets looked at, and Simon Thompson from Avaya Data responds saying, KCOM Connected, it's a great initiative. Love the style, look forward to the next one. Okay, and we go again. So KCOM Connected responds to Simon. Thanks for the mention, Simon. The next series of Napkin Diaries is being filmed next week. Watch this space. And so we continue to promote and develop the brand message. That same distribution model then can be applied to other digital platforms. I'll show you one more example. This is LinkedIn. A very underutilized aspect of LinkedIn at the moment is their product or services page. In the red circle at the top there, you'll see there's a tab. It's highlighted, I don't know if you can read, it says services. So companies typically only get as far as the company profile. That's all they're familiar with. But you can have a facility for a service page. If you're prospect audience is operating within LinkedIn, if that's their chosen method of communication and receiving information, you should be delivering your video content to them there, not expecting them to come to your website. So for KCOM, we have a services tab there. We've split their various product lines into 3 different service areas. You can see at the bottom. There's one of them, everything as a service. That groups a number of products. And if someone clicks on that, we give them more detailed information on that product set. And hey, look, we can promote the video there as well. So we're making that video content accessible to them across multiple platforms. But it's fine to produce video, to host it on your corporate website. I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is you have to make it accessible elsewhere as well if you're going to keep people engaged with it. Wherever you can, you need to plan for this stuff. Typically, videos are planned last minute. It's not ingrained in people's thought process yet, and they're executed in haste. The end result is pretty poor. Video is now an integral part of your marketing, whether you like it or not. It's no longer an afterthought. So think of it like that. And don't try and think, I'm going to make a video. Think wider. Okay? You're trying to create customer experiences. Video's the channel that you'll be using to do that. So when you're doing that, there's a couple of things you could try and avoid. Phrases like, can you just? Okay, that's a picture of Jane most days, I suspect. Can you just do this? Can you just send a camera crew to this event? Can you just re-edit? And expecting it to happen overnight. It doesn't. You need to allow lead times and plan for it properly. Another one to avoid, I need this tomorrow. Don't leave it to the last minute. You already know what your marketing activity is going to be for the year. And from now on, if you're not doing it already, you need to be planning where the key events are and not thinking about the traditional communications that you've always used. Think about how you're going to use video within your marketing plan. That way, you'll avoid the head in the sand. Okay, so get it wrong and people aren't going to stay awake. You know, they'll fall asleep pretty quickly. But get it right and your audience stays awake. So let me show you another example here. This is Love Hate Travel for Powwow Now. Powwow Now is a conference calling company. There's not an awful lot to say about conference calling. Hopefully it's self-explanatory. And that's the reason we have Love Hate Travel, is it gave us another topic of conversation in order to influence people that were traveling to work, struggling with commuter journeys, and suggesting an alternative, a conference calling alternative. So when you're trying to get people to stay awake for your videos, part of it is the content that you produce, that we've talked about, and the other part is digging them in the ribs hard enough to watch it. Yes, we have the video embedded in the site. Great, there it is. But we're also prodding people all over the site. Okay, there's a video tab. There's encouragement to upload their own content. They can send in their own iPhone videos. There's a YouTube button. So within your communications, use every opportunity to engage with that video content. We re-edited and recut the videos that we produced so that there were long versions and short versions. Again, it's a good tip that you can use. Don't just produce the big one, use multiple versions of it. I'm going to show you a couple now that are quite different so that you can see what I'm talking about. The first one is Ditch the Gym. So specifically a video exercise where we were trying to associate conference calling as an alternative to standing in queues, long commuter. You know, if you're getting fed up with the commute, why don't you stay at home and make a conference call instead? But that message in itself is pretty dry. If you think about what happens around the message, it gets more interesting. And on this occasion, we suggested, well, if you're stuck with a frustrating commute, make the time more effective. You could try and keep fit.
Monkey see as monkey do, but I don't quite know what to do. All my friends do. That's his way, I play it cool. All my friends keep dissing him. They say we'll sink, I think we'll swim. I've got to cherish what is mine. I don't really care. So precious, so divine. Am I unfair? Gotta care unless I don't wanna know. It's a feeling that is bugging me. Nothing this responsibility. But I know it shows. I just don't care. I don't give a monkeys. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't give a monkeys. Monkey see as monkey do, but I don't quite know what to do. All the advice, it turned out right, but I'm still with him, holding tight. Got to cherish what is mine. I don't really care. So precious, so divine. Am I unfair? Gotta care unless I don't wanna know. It's a feeling that is bugging me. Nothing this responsibility, but I know it shows. I just don't care. I don't give a monkeys. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't give a monkeys. I don't give a monkeys. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't give a monkeys. Gotta care unless I don't wanna know. It's a feeling that is bugging me. Nothing this responsibility, but I know it shows. I just don't care. I don't give a monkeys. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't give a monkeys. I don't give a monkeys. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I don't give a monkeys.
Okay, a lot more interesting than talking about conference calling, but still engaging our audience and generating conversation around conference calling. Second example, different, but still integrates with our overall content planning. This was a guerrilla campaign where we were compiling commuter product bags to help commuters, to refresh commuters as part of their frustrating commuter journey. We were going to hand out those commuter bags at central London stations and send people on their way. Well, having planned that, we were able then to integrate that with video content. So by just handing out the bags, we would have had an effective guerrilla campaign. There would have been a few hundred people satisfied with their commuter shopper bag. But by capturing it on video, we were able to then distribute it and use it as an asset to talk to a much wider audience. So think about those opportunities. When you're out in the field, can you use this material for a wider audience?
London commuters, how was your day? Go, 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 go! Not in trouble!
Did you hate or love your journey this morning?
No, I never liked it.
You never liked it, so what was it for you?
Did you love it, hate it? Hated it, why?
Because I spent 4 hours a day at the mercy
4
of
hours.
Southeast.
Guys, get your survival kits now!
Well, not
hate it?
really, not
No,
really,
why not?
because change is always a hassle, and the trains
okay.
are getting late most of the time, you know.
Something something I really don't like today. I was travelling from Bruce Grove to Liverpool Street Station earlier on, and some dog had messed all over the seat. And I was just rescued by this kindly young lady who stopped me from sitting down because I nearly didn't see it.
If you get a seat and you can sit down and read.
You love or hate trouble!
Oh, that's what I need. Oh, thank you very much. Exactly what I need.
We've used video here to piggyback on the back of it. So we've created an asset from nothing. And instead of a few hundred people being aware of the campaign, there's a few thousand that are now aware of it. The Spartacus effect. Not every video has to be an epic. However tempting it may be, and some people get very tied up in this and they want a long video, the whole presentation, they want to see it all. They may feel that that's right, but you need to start thinking about the audience. So relevance and customer engagement is influenced by more than just content. Your video doesn't just have to be good, it has to be better than everything else going on. Not better than all the other videos, but just better than everything else that's happening on the day when the person's trying to engage with that video content. I'm going to show you a slide from Uyala, Global Video Index, which shows us that we're no longer watching videos at our desk for very long, typically. Some people do, but for the most part, sitting at your desktop, you'll watch a video for about a minute, 3 minutes if you're lucky. We have other devices that we use now, mobile tablets. People will watch those for longer. Okay, maybe 6 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes on a mobile device they'll spend looking at the video. So you need to know what devices your audience are using, how they're engaging with your video. But be aware that it's 1 minute when they're sitting down at their desk because there's other stuff going on. Maybe 6 minutes if they're focused on their tablet device. That doesn't mean you can't produce long videos. It means you have to understand from the audience's perspective. The people up on the balcony there have an uninterrupted view and will concentrate on what's happening below. The two guys next to the lion's den may be a little more distracted, have other influences that are going to drag them away from the focus of your video. From the same survey, another table showing viewer engagement by device. So what we're seeing here is that your audience is easily distracted, particularly when they're sitting at their desk. They've got their browser open with any number of tabs running, they've got email there, they've got a document they're working on, they've got other people interrupting them. They're going to be distracted. Okay, so that's why they only watch for a minute, and they rarely watch to completion. Okay, so about 20% of people sitting at a desktop will watch your video all the way through. Doesn't matter whether it's long or short. They're only going to get some of the way there. So if you're going to communicate with them, you have to grab their attention with the content of the video, and you have to deliver your message fast, typically within the first minute. Repeat it by all means, but get it across quick. On mobile and tablet devices, you have a little bit longer. In fact, you can double your chances of a successful completed view to 40%, up to 60%, but typically all the way through about 40%. What can we learn from that? Well, to make epic videos, beware of Hessian pants, because they chaff. The final point on this that I wanted to make was that when you're thinking about what should go in your video, how long it should be, just remember that 30 seconds can be a long time in video. You can get an awful lot of information across in 30 seconds. We are familiar with TV commercials as 30-second commercials. Okay? There's a reason that they're 30-second commercials and not 30-minute commercials. Okay? And it's not just about the money or the airtime. It's about our attention spans and what we're interested in watching. So I wanted to pick my favourite piece of 30-second viewing on YouTube for you all to enjoy. Okay, tune in because it's gone in 30 seconds.
Oh yeah. Oh, goody da. Diddy ding ding. Yeah.
On premium light. Some drink it because they're responsible.
What?
Others just love the taste.
Try and bring this back to the beginning again. Look into my eyes. When you leave here, when I snap my fingers, here are the things I'd like you to remember. Use professionals where you can. You're in a privileged position of having a facility that you can use. Make the most of it. Your audience likes video more than anything else. That's what you should be concentrating on. They prefer good video, but frankly, any video will do right now. Whatever your job specification says, your job description says, that's fine. You can be in marketing. It doesn't really matter. Add to your job spec that you're now a producer in the entertainment business. That's what you have to be. Your content is dull. Start with that truth, and it can only get better. Unless people see it, it's useless. So make it accessible and shareable to wider networks. Plan ahead. By doing that, you're able to create experiences rather than fast videos. Don't be a cheapskate all your life. Use low-end, easily produced video by all means, but pick your moments to invest your budgets in decent quality productions to add to the overall brand impact. And make it short. Remember the 30-second rule. If you can't keep it short, make sure it's amazing. And then go crazy because everyone else is. Okay, finally, try to stay open-minded with video. Not too open-minded. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for your time. If you're on social channels, do keep in touch. I'll be happy to talk to you there. Thank you.